You inquired about electric estates, and here we proudly present the new, innovative and cutting-edge Nio ET5 Touring, a marvel in design. What that means, we're showing you today in this video, and with that, welcome to a new edition of Simply Electric featuring the brand new Nio ET5 Touring, starting at just over 47,000 euros. Before we get going, please check if you're part of the Simply Electric community. If not, please consider subscribing to us. And then you won't miss the consumption trip with the charging check coming up in a few days. I have one more big request. Thanks to we have the opportunity to show you in several languages electrically, and we want to introduce you to the Nio ET5 Touring in English on our secondary channel, Simply Electric. Please check the video description where I've put a link to the secondary channel. We would also appreciate your support there. And as always, we start from the outside. Starting from the front, let's take a look at the front section of the new Nio ET5 as a touring model. And I really have to say, it looks quite nicely performant, really very sharp. Up here, we've got the daytime running lights and then separately the LED headlights, which also feature an automatic high and low beam function. Yes, we have here a nearly completely sealed front. Just below the license plate holder, we've got a few air vents, and here a nicely extended front bumper. Truly a high-performance car. If one didn't know that it was actually a Nio, they might almost mistakenly think it's a high-performance Hoffenhausen sports car. And this dynamic line, as I see it, nicely extends over the A-pillar too. Across. The knobs up here are cameras left and right, and in the middle a LiDAR sensor, because Nio, and this is also standard on board, offers a lot of semi-autonomous support in this vehicle. Also here on the fender, another side camera pointing backwards. It kind of reminds us of that American supercar maker, right?
Yes, definitely.
We've fitted 19-inch winter tires here with a nice spoke design. Optionally, you can also choose to get 20-inch rims. We've installed the bright orange brake calipers here, available for an additional charge, and they're designed to complement this sunbath yellow-colored Nio ET5 Touring, adding just a little bit more flair. What makes Nio brilliant is that everything is a bit anodized, dark grey, so no chrome, everything kept in black. Just like the roof rails, we have retractable flush door handles and a nice black side sill. And then back here, which we'll get to later, there's also the charging port, which even opens electrically, Stefan. That's just perfect. So I really must say Nio offers here, starting at just over 47,000 euros, a very truly impressive and performant tourer. I'm not even sure if you're allowed to call it a station wagon at Nio. Nice rear spoiler. And here's a shark fin. I'm even fond of that. You know why?
Because it contains a camera.
Yes, he likely requires it for his somewhat semi-autonomous system as a form of support. I must say, I like it a lot. The design line also appeals to me. Back here with the continuous light strip. That's very, very chic. Unfortunately, we ended up driving through some bad weather in Berlin. And that's why the sunbath yellow has sort of turned into a dreary yellow. But that's not Nio's fault. It's all because of the weather. What I would have liked is for this wonderful rear wiper, which we do need from time to time, to maybe be integrated into the rear spoiler. Then it would actually appear even more appealing visually. Perhaps that could indeed be something considered for a facelift. Yes, down here we have a big fat diffuser. I believe last time I saw one like this on the Porsche Taycan, right?
Well, speaking of Porsche, that continuous light strip, well, I'm not so sure.
Well, I do think that Nio has a very sleek and uniquely captivating design and might just be considered a bit of an insider tip. Wouldn't you agree? What do you think?
Could be, yes, indeed.
It's exactly 1.79 meters long and precisely 1.96 meters wide, plus the outside mirrors, just under 1.50 meters tall. So truly like a beautiful sedan wagon. And the wheelbase is 2.88 meters. We've got a steel suspension system installed here where a bit later we'll want to check thoroughly just how comfortable or sporty it's actually tuned. It starts at just over 47,000 euros. And there Nio deliberately takes a unique path. That means, unfortunately, the battery pack is not included in the price of 47,000 euros. You can make a choice whether you'd prefer having 75 kilowatt gross or perhaps 100 kilowatt gross, just as with our subject of discussion. Then you have the option to either subscribe to the battery, or you can simply choose to buy it. With our 100 kilowatt version, the surcharge is pretty much at 21,000 euros. So it goes from 47,000 to 68,000 euros. would go up. Yes, it's charged here through the charging flap, which, as mentioned, opens electronically. That means we can charge here at 3-phase AC 11 kilo-dollars. That's pretty much the standard. With the 100 kilowatt hour version, it's fully charged from 0 to 100% in just over 10 hours. And with DC, he could always charge at 140 kilo. Took about 40 minutes to charge. That puzzled and put many off. Me personally too, because I say standards have pretty much become half an hour by now. And Nio recognized that immediately, rolling out a software update. It can now charge at 180 kilowatt peak, and thus it's down from 40 minutes to 29 minutes, from 10 to 80%. And we will, of course, aim to try this out together with you in the second video to see if it actually truly works as expected or not. We haven't discussed the performance, right?
What's wrong with him?
His 700 Newton meters of torque, 2 electric motors, one on the front axle, driving the front wheels, and one on the rear axle, driving the rear wheels, with 360 kiloball, 489 horsepower of system power, aiming to accelerate it from 0 to 100 in a mere 4 seconds. Let's give that a shot, shall we? At a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour, it's intelligent of Nio not to restrict us to merely 180 or 160 kilometers per hour, because in Germany we have the liberty to really push the pedal to the metal in specific areas. Unfortunately, we can't open the hood for you on this test vehicle because it seems like the release cable isn't pulling through. There seems to be a minor defect which can happen, but Stefan was kind enough to show you a picture of what it looks like underneath. Sadly, it doesn't have a frunk. That means we would have hoped it might at least have a small compartment for a Type 2 charging cable for storage, so as not to mix it with the clean luggage in the trunk, especially in dirty weather. But maybe Nio will add that in an update later on if there's enough space, because the car does go quite low down here. Unfortunately, we can't tell if it sounds rich. Let's just assume it does, shall we? Sure. Arby, what's far more important to you than the frunk is obviously the trunk, that is the rear boot. We can open it electrically right here on the Nio ET5 Touring, have a nice parcel shelf where you can also place a jacket on top for added stability, and then you can fold it down very, very nicely towards the back. Yes, we're expecting a trunk capacity of 450 liters with a double load floor, all nicely carpeted, a 12-volt socket, 180 watts for a cooler. We have a double load floor, which can also be removed. It's a pity that it's a bit loose here. I would have liked some sort of locking mechanism here, as you often need to access the Type 2 charging cable. But that's something that can surely be improved upon with a model update. Here we have a beautiful anodized aluminum edge, ensuring nothing gets scratched. You could also add a layer of plastic film over it for extra protection. So I firmly believe it truly and effectively serves its designated purpose exceptionally well. What I think is really cool is this interesting little gimmick right here, where you can conveniently take out the trunk light, and then you even have the option to use it as a proper flashlight. I'm not quite sure how it turns on, you know? Yeah, that's kind of weird. Do you think it's another user error, right?
As always, really?
Sorry, I truly cannot assist with that specific one, can I? Press and hold firmly, then turn off, wait a moment, and finally switch it back on. Oh, look, this one even has a blinking light. That's really cool, right? If you have a breakdown, you can set it up like this, Stefan. What do you think about that?
That's actually a cool idea, yeah.
So, Nio is really a bit of a true artist around here when it comes to this stuff. When pressed, you'll get a steady light. That means switch here operates in various ways, even dim. Look, you can actually make a red light appear. So that's really not bad at all, is it? What do you say? Yeah, it's a flashing light or something. You could also use it at home for like a small disco night or something.
Genau.
Yeah, we really had better put it right back here before it ever gets lost. And then we have a pleasant illumination here. If the 450 liters of trunk space isn't quite enough for you, you'll have the option. Now the door handle won't come out. Well, that's certainly something new. Yes, what I also like is when the door handle doesn't come out, even though you press on it. Stefan, that's probably a user error, right?
With so much technology, I've come to believe there are so many attachment errors, even ones we haven't encountered.
I pressed the remote key and then it came out. And then, of course, we will have the ability to manually fold down the back seat accordingly, depending on our needs. If we then don't have the seat all the way back, my goodness, what's going on today, Stefan?
I don't know either.
Yes, let's start moving the seat forward a bit, then we'll get to 60% on the driver's side too. By the way, you can also very, very nicely separate this out, so you can just fold down the 20% in the middle for a long item, or in winter for skis. And if that's still not enough, there's the option to fold down the 40% on the passenger side as well. Of course, that doesn't match the length either. There's always something, right? Because, of course, Stefan has pushed the backrest all the way back, just like Carlo Colucci does. We'll get that corrected too. And then we have over 1,200 liters, almost 1,300 liters of trunk volume. That's just crazy, isn't it?
It holds a lot, I'd say.
So everyone else was at fault, not me. And it's not a user error either. By the way, anyone who needs such a hook again, it's also in the trunk lid up to 2 kilos. So if we want to fish, we can hang up the jacket. Yes, perfect. So NIO is really like this. Everywhere there are such small, foreign-touching details that open up electrically, closes electrically.
And whether you believe it or not,
we can attach a roof rack to the roof rails. Nonsense. 75 kilograms is then the roof load, and those who want to engage in the refined sport of towing can opt for the trailer hitch. 750 kilo towing capacity, unbraked and braked. I'd guess 1.2.
No.
1.4 tons. Oh, very nice. I don't think that's too bad. It's sort of average, I'd say. Decent value. Where you can also tow a small speedboat, a small horse trailer, a small caravan, garden trailer, and very importantly for cycling enthusiasts, perhaps even mount a bike rack on the back. The nose weight is then 100 kilos, meaning 3-4 e-bikes. Yes, fits. Might actually fit perfectly on that. Outside, we've shown you everything there is. Let's take a significantly more detailed look inside, and as we always do, let's start our thorough exploration with the windows. We've got single glazing here. I'm not sure if double glazing is an option actually, but it doesn't have to be proof because we want to check the insulation with our internal noise meter. We have indeed truly had all sorts of varied experiences with that. Yes, let's start chronologically with the door panel, and there I must say Nio really embraced simplicity in the interior. Simplicity can be good, can be not so good, and whether it works here, let's see. It's nicely soft and padded here. I really, really like it. Then we have this rubber insert sort of with these ridges. At first I thought, well, is that nice? But I have to tell you, I really like it a lot. Here behind is this LED lighting. We just drove through a tunnel which you can illuminate in various colors. I find it really stylish. The only thing that kind of throws me off is that it somehow goes up and down in opposite directions. Would have expected it differently, but pressing forward, downward, pulling back, backward is probably a matter of getting used to. Opening here with a button, meaning this handle is gone. Here, a fine plastic rail, once again gold, then here some fabric, and down here again hard plastic, this time no rubber. I might have wished that to continue, but down here there's a felt inside, Stefan. Yes, that's awesome, so it doesn't rustle or clatter, and down here there might be a bit too little space for a big bottle. You see that a half-liter bottle fits in there wonderfully. That is hard plastic once again. You can judge if that's okay or perhaps not okay. By the way, for safety, there is also a lever here to manually open the door. In case the electronics fail, it's crucial in an emergency to be able to open the door no matter what. Welcome, dear friends, to the dashboard. We have here a very lovely and attractive color combination of what I would call a subtle yellow beige. We're not quite on the same page. Is it yellowish? Is it beige-ish? It's a remarkably beautiful, truly vibrant color paired with black anthracite. Yes, it seems the sound system is located right beneath the windshield. We have here Naomi Marte, which is an additional option when Naomi there winks at us so charmingly. I actually find it quite stylish and it adds that certain something to the car. I would even consider ordering it. Something that unfortunately was not available in the new ET5, not even as an option, is a head-up display. That's available in the larger variants. What is very nice to have here, though, is a large dashboard display, really stylish, and a steering wheel that feels robust, exterior in anthracite in this yellow-beige color, which I find really beautiful. Again, the gold is incorporated here with a bit of love as well, with a nice seam. Here at the back, the black is wrapped around again. So I really must say, the simplicity delving deeper into this car's experience thrills me immensely. Yes?
I generally tend to like it more with the new, thinking of the X30 in particular. For instance, I do miss the bike display. You know.
And somehow, actually, I really don't like that at all, not one bit. Just like how I now somehow don't have any possible way to adjust the side mirrors at all. It's quite simple by saying, hey Naomi, hey Lim, hey Naomi. mirror adjustment. Thank you. And the very cool and special fact about Naomi is she is really remarkably smooth, getting even smoother all the time. She adapts to your language, and then you can adjust a lot of things by voice, and then over here through the steering wheel, adjust the mirrors accordingly. For those who fear for their rims and lower the mirror every time, I'm very happy to do it, especially when I have large rims on board that don't have good rim protection. Of course, it's always significantly more complex to search for it in the digital display, or to attempt to do it through Naomi by utilizing voice commands meticulously. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether that's truly important to you or less so. I'm not always the deciding factor, I believe. What I quite like is the navigation system here. It's also quite seamless here in terms of setup, the swiping back and forth. The precise navigation to the somewhat southern area of Berlin, it actually worked out. Quite pragmatically indeed. And yeah, we'll definitely want to take another look later in the second video at the roading and maybe the charging planning. I think Tesla has optimized their system a bit more. Tesla started by making everything simple and then controlling it through various levels, which I find really great. For instance, you can manually heat the battery, which I also think is very good. You can choose to display the range as an estimated value based on driving consumption or the WLTP value, which I probably wouldn't want now. And you get a charging reminder that you can, of course, very easily configure to always display in kilometers. So really so many incredible and absolutely fantastic features have been meticulously built into this car. You can open the charging flap, which, by the way, can also be done via voice command. So NIO is really far, far ahead and continues to improve. And I believe one must give NIO a chance to consistently improve through software updates and charging speed enhancements. We allowed that for Tesla and other brands in the past, too. And in my opinion, that applies to NIO as well. The drive selector is quite simple. Forward for drive, backward for reverse. Drive, we have the park button here. We can also practice very, very nicely here. Using the button to set various driving modes all the way to Sport Plus, where we then get the 4.0 second acceleration. And these driving modes also have different power and motor characteristics. I also find it very, very well done because you don't always need that immediate punch. I've gotten a bit used to comfort. You have the option then to also adjust the regenerative braking or the recuperation accordingly. You have a snow mode, a wet mode. That's indeed interesting for some as well. You even have a sand mode in case you have a sandy driveway up to your villa. You have a trailer mode. So there are really great features built in here. We have the wireless charging pad here. It would really be nice to have two so you can charge the passenger's phone as well. We've got a decent cup holder here. Perhaps it could have actually been made a bit larger for some people's preferences. For us, though, I think it's sufficient. And you have a glove compartment, nicely padded, that you can open in both directions, which has a nice depth to it, since we have a vehicle designed to be fully electric here, which we can make good use of. I'm not even sure, do we need this partition so that the passenger can access it as well? Or would you nudge me away then, Stefan? Well, it can be opened both ways after all.
In such a case, we will definitely agree. Speaking of the opening,
we do have, as standard on the Nio ET5, such a huge piece of glass installed that even extends behind the rear seats continuously. And for an additional charge of 1,500 euros, you also get the option to brighten and darken it accordingly. A surcharge of 1,500 euros is quite a statement, right? Yes, I think that would get you a roller blind here.
I believe would do as well. Yes, that would be an option.
But please look, here I'd really like a nice Alcantara, such a microfiber, such a beautiful sky. What do you think? Pretty nice, huh? And who was it again who...
Including sun visors?
So I must really say, I wouldn't have thought, considering we did a studio production on the Nios, how good and high quality it feels in person. We have here a frameless mirror. So really everything, hats off to Nio. Many of you, just like me, use the modern chest pouch, and even there, Nio has created a level, also with a nice lining, somewhat rubberized, to then carefully store the lady's elegant handbag, the small chest pouch, or various other important items accordingly. That's quite stylish, isn't it? There's a 12-volt socket. Yes, quite a bit to it.
The only thing I somehow haven't found at all...
Stefan, are there USB-C ports or USB-A ports? Have you spotted anything? Hey, something at the back, maybe?
Well, I definitely had one in the center console at the back.
Right here in the center console, there's a USB-C port, and I think a USB-A port installed as well. That means you can lead the cable out from here. That's totally fine too. Yes, please take a look at these sport seats. I believe this is synthetic leather. That's how it feels. Perforated very nicely, where we definitely have the added comfort of seat heating and hopefully the luxury of added seat cooling as well. Haven't found it yet. We'll tell you later if our test subject has it. We also have the belts nicely matching the car's color right here. So for me, that's really this love for detail. The only thing I find a bit disappointing, look, Stefan, here you have this beautiful Alcantara B-pillar, but then here again is hard plastic. And what happens with hard plastic? It rattles.
Oh.
It's slightly disappointing.
Maybe at a model update, it could be an option to also cover this bottom piece with a bit of Alcantara. Otherwise, we have decent support here in the lumbar area, slight support in the thigh region, hinted shoulder padding, and then the integrated headrest. And I have to tell you, I actually got in here and somehow felt comfortable right away. Haven't had that feeling in an electric car for a long time. I don't know why, but there's something the Nio does to me. I somehow can't quite grasp it yet. I'm not exactly sure what it is yet. For many of you, it's crucial to be able to travel with 4 people in such a car, whether it's with children or adults. And now let's see how Ollie, with his 1.85 meters and his 99.9 kilos, resembling a fawn, fits into the backseat of the Nio ET5 Touring. And there, I must say, it's quite elegant. The roof is nice, isn't it? Yes?
But it's completely cloudy.
Well, that is because of the season.
But I have to tell you, it's really beautiful.
Look how far this goes back, even behind the headrest. So that's really brilliant. By the way, my seating position is quite brilliant too. So I'm really sitting properly back here. I've folded out the center armrest. You also have the option to fold out 2 cup holders. What always bothers me though is the length caused by the 3rd headrest. I earnestly wish for the chance to fully unfold the entire area, aiming to thus have a slightly longer and significantly wider surface upon which to comfortably rest on. Yes, what we also have at the back, of course, are the matching colored belts. Here it is though, look, fully softly foam padded. Please take a look. Feel this, Stefan. It's done awesomely. Normally we have hard plastic. Listen, nothing rattles. Yes, you see, why not in the front? We'll have to ask the Nio engineers about that at the next opportunity. What we definitely have here is the child ISOFIX attachment, also behind this faux leather kind of flip-up style. It should really work well. On the driver's side, passenger side, we didn't have it on the passenger seat though. So 3 child seats with ISOFIX are currently not possible, at least. And right back here, perhaps he could maybe have just a tiny bit more support, I believe. It's quite a sporty car with 700 Newton meters and 489 horsepower. I might wish that the seats were indeed possibly just a bit more ergonomically contoured. Yeah, back here it's also this plastic, but it really feels quite nice. So grained, not foam-backed, but still feels relatively soft. What I'm missing here might be an additional storage option. So something like a faux leather bag, maybe a small smartphone pouch. We certainly have a USB-C port available. Unfortunately, we couldn't manage to include a second one just yet. Of course, it would be nice if you have 2 kids and they both want to play around back here with their tablets, if they can both charge them, right? What do you think, Stefan? That would help, yes. Although having a second USB-C port isn't exactly rocket science, is it? Not really, but what's cool, in my opinion, is also the rear door panel. Look, Stefan, take a wide shot of it. It's made to match the front, nice and curved, feels really good. I must say, there's something about the simplicity found in the Nio, it somewhat deeply catches my interest. And here I've got plenty of legroom too. True, we don't exactly have a deep footwell here, unfortunately. But I can get my seat half under the front seat here too. So I really do believe you can make it quite cozy and comfortable here. Actually, I could keep moderating from the back here while you are driving. What do you say, Stefan? Same as always. We showed you everything outside, we showed you everything inside. If you now manage to pleasantly surprise us with the driving, then it could really be an insider tip, right? Definitely.
Let's now proceed to the detailed drive report.
Come along now, we are going to test the Nio ET5 touring car for its driving characteristics in depth. We've started and immediately faced the first tough test, right? Yeah, let's see.
Athletic and cobblestones that don't always go together. So what we definitely have
is a firm suspension, but I find it firm yet comfortable, completely different, for instance, from the Tesla Model 3 we tested. You remember? Yes, which had that go-kart feel, but somehow transmitted every bump. This here, I genuinely believe, is very much better calibrated, so indeed it does bring a lot of joy. So I have to say, I'm really impressed from the get-go. I've just started the seat massage. Yeah, nice, and I find the turn signals sound really subtle.
Super quiet, super pleasant.
Just a tiny mechanical click, that's all we need.
No, but that is actually quite brilliant.
We have got seat heating, seat ventilation, and a seat massage feature, and we can control everything via Hey Naomi. Yeah, perfect. Now, at some point, you'll have to start again.
Naming the car's real name. Why? Naomi is nice after all. Yes, Naomi Kempi, no? Oh, yes.
You're lost in thoughts again.
But I'd suggest let's just call her Nomi in the future. Why is she called Nomi? She's called Nomi.
Hey, Nomi.
Hello?
Is your name Naomi or Nomi? Please say it again. I'm all ears.
Is your name possibly Naomi or perhaps Nomi?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Well,
Then she likely really does not care at all. Actually refers to 360 kilo,
489 horsepower. Yes, that sounds like a launch party.
700 Newton meters of torque.
I've switched to Sport Plus mode, and I'm not even sure if it has launch control. Let's see, I'm pressing the gas with my right foot counting down. Yes, indeed, 3, 2.
Fun go.
40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Didn't you time that at all? Didn't need to this time.
We actually have the Draggy, and we indeed brought it along with us.
How cool is this, would you say? Let's quickly go ahead and take a closer look together at the results we have obtained. Our beloved Draggy diligently crunched the numbers, came up with 0.50 in 1.79 seconds and 0.60 in precisely 2.15 seconds. So with that, I believe you're at the front of the pack at every traffic light start. 0 to 100 in 4.09 seconds, and then from 60 to 100 in 1.94 seconds. Of course, you have to add that to the other values. So you really have to say that right off the bat, even without launch control, it instantly delivers its factory specifications right here. On winter tires, 19 inches, just like that, more or less out of the cold. That's pretty cool, right? It's fun, and it really pushes you back into the seat for 4 seconds.
That's definitely one of those.
T-punch, right? A T-punch.
The lady completely loses her mind and says,
We truly require a significantly larger wagon, not solely for punch, but also for improved transport, enhanced maneuverability, and to ensure we complete our shopping efficiently in just a single trip. And what fits better? Then, of course, a really good reversing camera with a wagon is essential. We've got some helpful guidelines displayed here too, but I think, honestly, I haven't driven quite far enough yet. Stefan, what do you think? It's going to be tight? Yeah, we better not do that. Somehow hitting a slight, unexpected ditch somewhere with our subject. Let's move forward a bit more and then smoothly, properly and carefully back into this parking space. By the way, the mirrors on both sides, they tilt down slightly. That's been executed really well, not too overly strong at all. You've also got a splendid option here to take just one more thorough look at the sides. You have various settings available, and then for the 360-degree camera system, even as you pull out, you naturally have the option to also have a large front camera. And what I like is you also have a parking assistant and a distance indicator. So everything is perfectly resolved, right? I would say one is quite satisfied here.
You do look chic, huh? Yes. So, as if someone is driving right behind us.
Right, and filming us, that's quite bold. Yes, we want to measure the interior sounds with you at 50 km/h. 57, 58 decibels, that's truly a top-notch figure. Just think back to the ID3. It had 61 decibels there. We're driving at 70 km/h. "60, 61 decibels, that's also a top value. The ID3 had around 70 decibels there. So even without the double glazing, 2 panes bonded with the film, it's really very, very well insulated. So I'm really pleasantly surprised. We'll test again at 100. We're driving at 100 km/h. "63, 64, 65 decibels, that's nearly reaching the S-Class level. Am I correct in saying that? Wow, I must say I'm genuinely, truly impressed by this.
So, for comparison?
The ID3 was around mid-70 decibels. So Nio, hats off, I believe you know how to build cars. We want to try out the assistance systems here in the Nio ET5 Touring with you. I have now successfully activated the pilot system, which means it now offers a certain level of autonomous driving support assistance. It actually works, I firmly believe, really very, very well indeed, because impressively, it sticks to the middle of the lane quite nicely, demonstrating precision. It does that very, very neatly indeed. We're now going from a speed of 100 down to 70. However, it lacks predictive operations. After signaling, users must press a control to adjust the speed to 70 km/h. Then, to return to 100 km/h, a reverse action is necessary, ensuring precise and intentional adjustment. So, I practically need to press the button upwards to from 70 to 100 km/h. Accept the speed limit. I would wish for a predictive version like we know from Volkswagen, like it's known from Audi, BMW. Mercedes, that really knows in advance when there are speed limits or if they arise ad hoc due to daytime construction sites. It then takes them from the traffic sign recognition and adjusts the speed also from the corresponding distance. Here, we still need to manually intervene with a simple button press. But with our impressive traffic sign recognition system in place, I must say, it truly makes a significant difference. We have encountered very, very few, if indeed any at all, mistakes in this area concerning the fluctuations in the speed of delivery here. Yes, even when it goes around a significantly sharper curve, we'll attempt here to see how well it manages to maintain the center of the lane. You can see this here very, very nicely. It does it very smoothly. It does it very, very neatly. Manages, as I find, also just very, very well the distance. We are now coming back into the 70s area again. Now it detects it, now I have to basically confirm, and now it slows it down. In my eyes, that's actually too late, because now we're only at 70 where it goes back to 100. So I really must say, indeed, there's definitely significant room for improvement here, but I strongly believe it can all be satisfactorily addressed and corrected through software accordingly. So from that perspective, I think it's initially a system we can work with, right? Once you get used to it...
Like, doing that confirmation thing again, yeah, actually, yes. So, you do have all those security-related...
things like emergency brake function, cross-traffic alerts, and so on. NIO didn't just randomly install so many cameras and LiDAR sensors on the car for nothing. So I believe NIO is also someone who will be much involved in the higher levels of semi-autonomous driving in the future, eventually, hopefully advancing to the fully autonomous realm as well. That's similarly NIO's ambitious long-term goal to eventually meet and significantly exceed those precise, specific requirements as well. Fun, right?
Yeah, it's a good sound system.
Even if your name isn't on it now, it doesn't have to be. Nice bass, right? Oh yes, nice and deep.
So I must say that does...
Nio really nails it here with its sound system. What I kind of miss is that we apparently don't have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto here. Yeah, we don't have that.
That could in fact potentially turn out to be really cool indeed.
To mirror his phone in the car.
That would definitely be cool, and there are quite a few other options with it too. Oh yes, right? Let's head to the...
Let's take an interim conclusion because we want to proceed with the consumption test and the charging check on the Nio ET5. Touring, yes, from the outside, I must say, I find it very, very appealing. Wonderfully modern, created exclusively as a battery electric vehicle. It's really a striking, sporty touring model, essentially a wagon where I say this is definitely an eye-catcher. Especially right here in the vibrant Sunbars yellow. I really must say it's quite a wonderfully fresh color, isn't it? Surely not all do.
Inside, I must say,
I'm quite surprisingly fond of the simplicity, focusing on what truly matters here. It also, I think, enhances the driving experience as it brings driving-related aspects more into focus. And the essential switches I need are all here on board. So in that regard, this mix is really awesome. Of course, with the mirror adjustment, some might say they would have preferred to keep the switches for that. But I really have to say I actually manage with it very, very well indeed. Yes, it has performance beyond measure. Starting at 47,000 euros, you get just one engine option. All-wheel drive, then 360 kilowatt, 479 HP, and it delivered the 4 seconds from a standstill right away. Truly must praise it. Not all electric cars work, and it's got that punch when you want it, but if you're looking for comfort, it rides really smooth. It's an elegant glider, yet always finely tuned with a sporty edge. But never to the point where the bumps come crashing through, so I must say, truly well done by NIO. And then larger models with air suspension should improve. So we're eager to see, when we test the larger models, whether NIO will step it up a notch, right? Yes, I'm curious, in those 47,000
Euro, no battery pack.
You can rent it monthly or buy it, and of course you can also lease the whole car, finance it, or get it on a subscription. Feel free to visit the Nio website and maybe even take a test drive at a Nio location near you. In Berlin, we've got the big Nio house where you can truly experience a lot of amazing things. Stop by. We'll meet up during the energy consumption drive and comprehensive charging check. Then we'll share the overall final verdict. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please check again if you're part of the subscribers' electric communication. We'd be really happy if you support us with a subscription. Feel free to check out our English channel, Simply Electric, too. And then I'll say, see you in part 2 with the consumption drive and charging check. Hopefully, see you soon again. Stay healthy and see you soon. Yours, Ollie. You too, Stefan. Well, what do we have here? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a bit of an adjustment, isn't it, with all these humps, right? It's like a little humpback whale, isn't it? Yeah, it does look kind of odd, right? If you don't know.
What's behind it, you'd surely wonder. Such a Nio hump.